Hello, welcome to our mini painting stream. And my dad in back right now finding some stuff. But we paint 3D minis here on the show that we use on our D&D stream, which airs on Sundays at 2 p.m. Eastern here on our Twitch channel. I've been working on this house, which is getting close. I'll probably finish it today. I have some cleanup to do, and then not too much more after that. We 3D print all of these on these printers that are going behind me. If you're interested in the models, you can go to our website, dysondungeons.com, and go to the attributions page where we have all of the model makers listed. We also have been working on some river tiles, and today we're probably going to be experimenting. We have a more finished one here with some realistic water. No idea what that's gonna be like, but we'll find out. So if you like, just feel free to sit back and watch or chat with us, and we're gonna just be working and relaxing and having a good time. What I'm gonna be doing today, I have all my base coat in on this building, this house. And today I am going to be cleaning it up. So there are a couple spots, like here, where I went over with the red. Hey, how are you doing today? I went too far with the red, like right here, so I'm just gonna be cleaning that up today. And then probably get to wash it and see where we go. And you're gonna get it all set up for. Do you need a hand with that before I get to it?
Probably.
Oh, well, I hope things get better. I am exhausted today, so I'll probably be a little slow to communicate because my brain did not wake up this morning and continues to not be awake. So, oh, just out of class, yeah. I remember that feeling. What we're doing right now is taping our river tile, so that when we pour this realistic water in it, it'll hopefully not spill too much.
Just enough.
Just enough. Just to sort of cover up those open-ended parts. But we have it in a high tin in case it does spill. Something disposable to catch it. This is a great experiment. Luckily, these don't cost very much for us to print, but would be very expensive otherwise. I forgot it was phys ed and taught chemistry instead. That's pretty funny.
Okay. Well, it says do not shake, so
Don't shake it.
not shaking it.
Might explode.
Who knows what it does? It was expensive.
Nothing
though.
good. Well, there's a fair amount of it.
Mm-hmm.
And if it gets the effect we want...
So we're just supposed to pour this
gently
into there.
And then it takes 24 hours to cure. Don't go more than 1/8 of an inch. Not that the bed is much more than 1/8 of an inch. Just don't take it. Let it spread a little.
Okay, try to get it level.
Yeah. So
there. Now there's liquid in there. More or less level.
Yep. And now just move it away from us so we don't mess with it. And we'll see in about 24 hours how giant of a mess it is. We need to get like a spice rack or something for all our paint. Oh, our weekend was pretty good. It was busy. We went to the local minor league baseball team. They had a game for the Labor Day weekend, and that was pretty fun. They won.
Does that look pretty level?
It looks fine. So it's definitely is liquid, and you can see it just over here. There's a reflection and everything. So we're gonna. My main concern. Hey, Bowen. Hi. Exactly. Yeah. They're a team for the. They're the minor league team for the Detroit Tigers, and we thought the Tigers are known for doing really well and then losing in the last few innings. So we were expecting the minor league team to do the same, but
yeah, they had a 4-0 lead,
and they did
going into the
go to
8th
4-2, but
yeah, they managed to give up a couple of runs at the end, so just enough to make us remember that they belong to the Tigers.
We have our realistic water. The tape seems to be holding it.
Yeah, I mean,
so that's a big plus.
Yeah.
The big question is, we don't know if this is going to be hard when it's fully cured or not. It says 24 hours to cure, so I'm actually gonna slide it way out of the way so we don't knock it around. Move my little scorpion over.
And it'll sit there, and then we'll see what happens.
And then we'll let it cure for a good long time and see if it really messed it up or not.
And I'm painting this other house. I decided that this one is going to be blue. So I tried blue with blue wash here, and that didn't turn out too well. And then I tried blue with black wash, and that looks good and leathered, but you can still see blue. So I'm going to paint all these panels blue now, and then wash them, and if it turns out crappy, then I'll paint them blue again. That's how it goes.
And I'm doing a badly eventful weekend. That sounds rough. I hope the week starts going better when whatever happened this weekend.
Does that look like it's staying level?
Yeah, it's fine. If it's not spilling over, it's fine.
Running out of its banks.
Over the levees.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so blue, here we go.
And if I get through with this house, I'll finish up these river tiles today. But first I wanna just get this project done. Lexi and I have been talking about fairly seriously talking about making an Etsy store with these pieces. But we'll see. Yeah. Other than the baseball game, my weekend was pretty quiet. I used all my socialization energy for that one event, and then I basically just like hid for the rest of the weekend. So there wasn't too much that could happen for me, but I have definitely had weekends that have sucked. Not too long ago. What I'm doing, I was using this fairly fine, it's not our finest brush, but fairly fine brush to, wow, 150 by, so that's here in Michigan we have a biking tour called Delmac, which goes from our capital, Lansing, up to Mackinac at the top of the Lower Peninsula. And I think it's about that far. You know, you camp along the way, and that just happened too over Labor Day weekend. So Lexi usually does Delmac with her dad and does the big biking trip up there. It's like 100 to 150 miles over a series of days. And oh, nice. Lazy river tubing is fun too.
Sounds like more fun than biking 200 miles.
Easier on the butt, for sure. Well, I hope it was a good nap at least. Yeah, I spent most of my weekend just sort of like being quiet and not really doing much other than like some writing, things like that. I'm probably going a little overboard with my cleanup here. Most of this, once I put the wash on, isn't going to be too terribly visible, quite honestly, but you know, I just sort of feel like I should. I'm trying to decide, should I use a black wash or an umber wash for the wood here?
For the roof?
No, the wood. The red.
Oh, the red? I would test it. See. I'd start with the umber.
That's what I was thinking.
And see if it shows. Nice red. I don't know that you want to cover it up that much.
Well, I'm actually thinking of doing, it's a little harder, but doing a more targeted wash to hit the cracks between the boards rather than just over the whole thing. And now, so. But that will definitely take a lot more time and work.
Yeah, and when you sell it on Etsy, you need to double the price then.
Uh-huh. Is that working at the cafe? Oh, yeah, I'll have to check that. Thank you for letting us know. Let's see if Roz was on and saw that. Yeah, my brain isn't running today either. I've had both coffee and espresso, and neither of them have done anything at all to jumpstart me today. You know, I should probably take a picture of this before I wash it if we want to put it anywhere. Extra chocolate milk. Nice. I'm just taking a quick photo or two.
That made a mess.
I actually remembered this time. Yeah, I did not like coffee for a really long time, and back at her old job, Lexi would work late in the night, and she would have coffee with our friend in the morning after they got out of work. And I was always like, I want to come along, but like I don't want, like something cold in the morning. So I just sort of taught myself to like coffee, basically. I started with some sweeter, like mochas and stuff, worked my way back. But that was only, I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago, 8 years ago, I don't know. I'm bad with time.
A while ago.
Some time ago.
In the past.
Yeah, it was like way too bitter for me at first, so I definitely needed to like ease my way in. I was gonna learn. So what I'm sort of thinking is I'm gonna take, I'm afraid if I use this method, yeah, the umber doesn't show up too much doing this super fine sort of work. So, since I have the umber out, the choice between those two, McDonald's or a donut shop? Yeah, that's a good question.
Donuts?
Probably.
No question. Hi, Tesla.
Okay, so this is the umber wash going on a little here. It's a little shiny, so it's hard to see. But I think that'll add just enough variation without disrupting the red too terribly much. As I spread it over, get it into those cracks. Also, always wants donuts.
Not always.
When don't you? See exactly.
Times.
Just sometimes, basically.
Yeah, sometimes you just want, some barbecued ribs maybe, or a couple of radishes. Yeah, not always donuts.
Yeah, it's probably choosing between a fast food place and a donut shop. It's probably gonna be about the same stress level, so whatever sort of perks level. If it's a donut shop that serves coffee, I can tell from experience that people are very grumpy getting coffee because they haven't had it yet, and they come in very kind of pissed off already. So that can be a little rough. That sounds a lot more fun than either of those options, honestly. Ugh, that realistic water smells pretty bad. Oh, thank you. Yeah, the wash comes on very shiny at first, and then it sort of gets a lot more matte as it dries. So, since I really want it in the cracks of the wood and like the grains that are printed into it, I'm probably gonna leave the house sitting as it is right now so that gravity doesn't pull the excess wash away for a little while. But luckily I put almost exactly the right amount of wash in the cup, which is rare but nice. So let's see if I can. It adds just like this little dark effect throughout. There it goes. To sort of break up the monotone red that you get otherwise. And as that dries, it will stop being quite so shiny, but it does take a little while to dry. One thing I am going to do is take the black and super carefully fill in this line between the two doors. Probably too much black actually for what I'm doing, so I'll just dab a little off. Because this door has a small groove where it's two doors in sort of a French door configuration. And I just want to delineate that visually a little bit. Without making too huge of a mess by touching wet paint, you know. Okay. Yeah, there, that way the door has a little line between it. Alright, so that's taking a minute to dry. So, I'm gonna close up my paint. And what I'm gonna do is start prepping some of these river tiles. By getting these tiles prepped, we'll have two options. One, if the realistic water that's sitting over there works, we can do the same to these and all the other tiles that we've had printed. If it doesn't work, these will be ready for alternate options. Like epoxy or
just some spray,
or even like a lacquer maybe.
Yeah.
Or a resin or a lacquer
or something.
Yeah, if there's like a thick spray lacquer that just gives it a shiny effect, like a glossy effect, we can tape the banks off so that it doesn't get sprayed, and then just go over, and it won't give the depth that we might necessarily want in here, but it will give us the shininess of like water, which would be nice. So to accomplish what I did on that, I need the sea blue and the light blue that you're using. So I'm gonna start with the sea blue.
That isn't what you used.
I thought I did.
You used regular blue.
This is the regular blue.
That.
I'm using the sea blue for the low.
For the low parts, for the highlights.
Right now, these are all for our D&D stream that we do on Sunday, but we are discussing and looking at making an Etsy store. We have the rights to sell all these things that we print. So, you know, and then in the not super distant future, you know, there's a lot of logistics that go into it. We are actually thinking of printing and selling them either unpainted or painted. Obviously, the painted takes a while, so they'll be a little more expensive, but yeah, so as of now, they're for D&D streams and just personal home play that's not streamed, but yeah, in the near future, we might actually be looking to sell them. I'd say probably a couple months. We have another project we're finishing up first, and we're gonna be filming, I believe, a Halloween special as well, which will take a little bit of time. But that will be like the next large project. Exactly. And we figure, you know, like, there's sort of a cross-promotional aspect to it, where it's like, hey, if you like the things you see on our show, you can buy them here, or if you want to see the things that we're selling in action, you can check them out here. It seems like a natural fit, but it's one of those things where you have to focus on one thing at a time, and I know an Etsy store takes a lot to set up initially. Yeah, that's one of those that we ran into the past where it's like, I'm gonna try and get 3 things started all at the same time, and it just doesn't. None of them work because you can't focus on any single one. So, you know, it's one thing to sort of, yeah, exactly. And the big thing for us will be, we need to make sure we measure how much material each piece would take to print, how much time it takes to print each individual thing, and then, you know, be able to price that appropriately so that we're not taking a loss on anything we sell. You know, and then I'm pretty good at estimating how long it'll take me to paint something. Like those Tudor houses we did took like 40 hours, 20 hours probably. But those were the most complicated thing we've done.
Yeah, that took quite a while because of the window lattices. Whereas
these houses, they take like 4 to 6 hours.
I'd say about 6.
Depending on a lot of factors.
3 streams.
3 streams worth. Yeah, so do you run an Etsy store, Bowen? I feel like I know that, but my brain isn't running today. And if we do an Etsy store as part of Dice and Dungeons, you can do all the shipping and packaging.
Yeah, I'm good at packaging.
Since you do eBay stuff. Yeah, exactly. Like, we don't want to... We definitely wouldn't want to charge, like, Dwarven Forge prices, because they're very expensive. It's actually... Well, it's not the main reason we got 3D printers, but it was sort of a side benefit. We originally got a 3D printer just because Lexi thinks they're cool and wanted to do them with our friend Wong, who's also on the stream. And then we were like, we can print dungeon sets that Dwarven Forge charges like $300 for like, I don't know how much, $10, $100, something.
Less than 300, right?
I don't keep track of all that. I just paint the things Lexi prints, but way less than $300. Wow. That sounds pretty cool. Why don't you, if you feel like it, toss your Etsy store in the chat, and after the stream's over, I can go in and pull it up so I can check it out. Or you can, like, DM us or whatever you prefer. I think this Umberwash is very close to dead.
Yeah. We have one or two more.
I'm sorry. Absolutely bumped you. Yeah, that sounds really cool. We're thinking if we do an Etsy store, we're gonna start fairly small and do like some basic dungeon tiles, things like that. Right now we're printing a cut stone dungeon. That's what's going back there. And it has, like, these are the floor pieces. They're very simple stone, obviously unprimed and everything. But, so we do like that one, maybe the sewer, and like the rough dungeon, stuff like that, or like the town set that we've used on stream a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And just start with those, and then sort of, if we start getting some traction, add things in a bit at a time, because there's a lot of math that goes into figuring out how much to charge for each piece, because we're not looking to make a huge, like, gouge people for what it is.
Yeah, but you do want to cover your costs, and
you want to cover your costs,
and
if
a bit of extra.
Awesome, thank you. I'll check that out after the stream. If you want, yeah, and if business picks up, then you have to get more printers if it becomes successful, which isn't a bad problem, but one of those considerations. But I figure we'll sell them like just base, or just as printed, or primed, or painted, with varying price levels. Sort of how I'm envisioning doing something like that.
Yeah, you'd think that Priming wouldn't add much to the cost, but the primer is actually pretty expensive.
Primer is somewhat fairly expensive sometimes, especially when it's having production issues in a pandemic.
And if you spray it on, you end up using twice as much as you would if you were just painting it.
Yeah,
So
because it hits the edges. So I'm just putting in the dark lower sections on the water here at this sea blue. And I'm gonna do the same because you're still going with the light blue, and I have my brush dirty. And the drying process is coming along on this. You can see it. It just adds these sort of dark variations. Oh well, that's a really good rule of thumb to know. I'm horrible with math, so I'll leave it to Lexi. But 30%, the cost should be about 30% what you spent and about 60% profit to cover future things. Yeah, yeah, that's a big thing. When we ordered the second 3D printer, when we got just the same one, uh, a part inside was like shattered when it arrived. And, you know, if you're trying to ramp up production for a store, having to wait the extra time for them to ship it back, issue a refund, send a new one out, that could really eat into like a timetable. So I always like to try and be very cautious when planning things and plan for the worst, sort of. So I already told Lexi one thing, that if we open an Etsy store and I'm like painting full time, basically, I need a better stool.
well, you could use this one with the cushion.
What I really need is one with a back,
Oh,
so I can distribute some like pressure backwards instead of just all on my butt.
no, we should have gone to Bar Stools or Us before it went out of business.
Yeah, I bet they had a great closing sale. Exactly, 60% can go to the stool. But, you know, we thought about like, hey, some fun thing. Like, you could also have like a tier where you pay a little extra, and we say we're gonna paint your piece on stream. We'll tell you when we're gonna do it. You can show up, tell us your username, and direct like what colors you want and stuff live. It's like a little interactive piece, since we're already streaming ourselves painting. You know, obviously you have to limit how many of those you do, because you're only able to do so many on stream at a time, but I feel like that would be a fun little perk for people. Yeah. I don't know. Some people might enjoy getting to see their piece that they bought painted live. But luckily with like Etsy, you can like limit the number of things you have available. So if you're like, we have 3 slots for this, and it would mostly be for more like finite things rather than dungeon sets, like a house or something. Oh yeah, the getting, yeah, doing the like see it being produced live kind of. That's one thing Lexi's been trying to talk me into is I do the like the digital art for our like characters and everything that we use on the opening credits and everywhere, and she's like, we should have you stream you drawing things, and I'm a little more shy about that than painting, but maybe someday.
You know why?
I don't
You draw
know.
really well.
But that's one of those like focus on one thing at a time. Also, set up for a whole different stream. While we're making the DM dailies and an Etsy store, stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, at this point, we've invested in all the like equipment, and I just use like a Surface Pro for drawing. I don't have like a super fancy Cintiq or anything, but like we have all the stuff to do it. Just a matter of actually doing it. Sounds like our print's just finished. And for some reason, our music stopped playing. Let me fix that. Oh, somehow the shuffle got turned off. There we go. Alright. That's probably good for the dark sections. They don't show up too terribly much. Are you finished?
No, but we can share.
Okay. Well, I think I'm gonna do a little umber washing on the next section because this is dry enough that it's not gonna run down the front. Just sort of creating that dark variation in the wood.
You tell me when you want light blue.
Yeah. I started with ages ago with a Intuos, and it was like a plug into your computer sort of separate thing. And it worked really well for ages, but like just being stuck to I don't know. It was clunky and difficult to maneuver sometimes. So, Lexi got a Surface for work, and I was using that for a little while to play around on. And eventually, there was a sale, so we ended up getting one for me as well. And then we started doing all this stuff. But yeah, Lexi actually has one of those little tiny bamboo tablets that she'll use basically as a mouse sometimes, as opposed to not strain her wrist quite as much. What do you think?
That came out really well. Yeah, it looks good on there.
Okay, I'll do more umber wash. I'll do the other side because that'll be the biggest pain. I don't think we're gonna use this color anytime soon. I'm gonna use it as a... Oh. Thank you. Thank you. We will... My cup. And probably finish this bottle of umber wash today. pretty low, but we have at least 2 more bottles. I think 2.5 more. So. And I'm glad I chose black as the boards, because I can just, it won't show anything that's on it, basically, because it's just black, so I have a little leeway. I will need to use black wash for the stones on the bottom after I get through all of the sides here. I think I just realized part of my focus problems today are because I forgot to eat lunch.
It's my job to forget to eat.
Did you eat?
I did. I ate something.
Wow, okay.
It's pretty unusual.
Yeah. I got caught up with work and forgot to do that part of the day.
Yeah, I find it easy to forget to eat until it's an awkward time.
Yeah, it's like, well, it's, 4 o'clock, and you're having dinner in a few hours, so you can have a snack or just wait. I love the wash part of it because it's so quick and easy and makes everything look so much better. So, like, with just a couple little splashes here and there. But you can't get it unless you put all the setup work in. So, we'll see how that goes as that dries. Checking my other side. Okay, that's holding. Good. Prop that up. And hopefully not knock it over. Well, if that hardens, I think that'll look great on that water.
Yeah. I mean, it's not supposed to harden to a hard surface. They say it stays tacky.
It stays tacky?
Yeah, well, if you put something on it, it will either stick to it or make an impression. They can't set anything on top of it.
What if we put some saran wrap very carefully on it?
Well, depends on if you can avoid bubbles.
Yeah.
I think the best thing to do is just keep it covered when you're not using it.
Just store it very carefully.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my worry is if it isn't fully will it ooze out the sides if we take the tape away?
We'll find out when we take the tape away.
Mm-hmm. Part of the
we can always just cut the tape down.
I know,
or next time, put the tape up only
where that is.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. I'm gonna borrow some of your light blue because I'm at the stage where that needs to dry. Make sure I drop my brush. And since I'm up, I might as well change the 3D printer.
Yeah, we'll get to hear it sing.
So if anyone's interested, when they come off the printer, they look like this. And this is a loosely attached bed.
Supposedly loosely attached.
Sometimes less than loosely attached, like right there. But that just helps make sure the whole piece prints evenly, so it doesn't get too wobbly. You just pull it off like that, generally, sometimes with an X-Acto knife, and you have your finished piece. This is part of a dungeon set that has a wall that goes along here. So it'll be like that, and a wall will come up and off of it. Okay. Well, if I get through these river tiles, I might work on these kitties. I have these two little cat figures we bought. Well, they're little here, but in D&D they're like Jaguars. That I just put a base coat on, but maybe I'll work on the spots on one of those. I'm sorry, I'm bumping you a lot. My chair must be a little too close. Okay, so I'm gonna do the high points on this river next. So I put a darker paint down in the lowest parts. And there's actually, like, ridges in the print proper. So I'm just gonna, along the high points, put this light blue.
Versatility of paint. So it's both wood siding on a Viking house and highlights on a river.
Just to create little water highlights like that. And this is pretty easy because all I have to do is sort of follow the tops of the ridges and, you know, do some tapering along the way. Just start a little thin, get a little thicker as you go, and then thin off and carry it on a little. But the nice thing about model painting is that the basic structure is already there. So all you have to do is put it in the right spot, rather than having to design the whole thing from scratch. Or off a reference or something. Which can take a lot more work.
So it's like painting by numbers, but there's no numbers.
Yeah. It's like painting, but having the painting in 3 dimensions, but having the sketchwork done.
Well, I finished all the panels around the side of the house.
Yeah.
But now I've got these triangles, big triangles, so I can use a bigger brush. And then after that, I'll get the browns out and the gray and do all the touching up.
Oh yeah, I need to put variation in the roof tiles before I get those. That's one thing I forgot.
Definitely goes a lot faster with a bigger brush.
Faster but less precise is the trade-off.
Which is why I did all the edges with the smaller brush.
Yeah, can be sort of a pain, but it can actually save time when you're not having to redo everything.
And so I just splashed all over the one.
Oh,
That's an easy touch-up anyway.
brown.
Mm-hmm. Easier than some of the little splotches.
After the stream, why don't we put another pie tin over the top of that
Mm-hmm.
so that
So that things don't fall into it.
dust, moths, I don't know, a cat.
Well, actually, I could do that now.
Since
Since I just finished with the blue.
Are you done with the blue?
I'm done with the blue. You can take the blue to your left side.
For my left hand.
Get another pie tin and put it over the top. Hopefully not knock anything over.
I think that'll probably be good. It reads enough like water. Maybe one little spot here. After I paint for a little bit, sometimes I like to just hold it away from me and stare at it for a minute. And get a sense of where I need a little extra. Right, yeah. So, either, if that stuff works, this will get covered as well. If it doesn't, we'll cover it with something else.
It's more water.
Yeah. Okay.
Right, yeah.
I got you 2 cups of water.
Good.
Like pie tin, like disposable pie tins. When you're making miniature river tiles, which happens a lot.
If you want to set it on.
No, you're fine. Reduce the amount
It's
of...
Plan 9 from outer space.
Yeah, it's a sitting saucer. Why is a nail on the ground called a UFO?
Why?
Because it's an unmoving ferrous object.
Yep. It is. That's a good one.
No, it's not. But I am tired, so it makes it funnier in my head.
It's a real chortle maker.
Alright. So, part of the reason I'm not being super exact about this is because these prints are technically identical. I don't want them to be painted identically. The same. So, by being a little more free-handed and wobbly, because you don't necessarily see the tops of the actual model all that much when it's sitting on the table. As long as it's roughly in the right spots, having this variation will help make it look like a different section of water rather than like someone took the same, distance of a river and just cut and pasted it. So when they're together, it'll look something a bit like that. And that's quite a sizable river for Dungeons and Dragons. I'm guessing that's a 10-foot river, 10 to 15 feet wide.
No, it's at least 2 squares, so whatever that is, 20.
That's 10 5-foot squares.
Okay.
Yeah. Hopefully our realistic water works. It says it has minimal shrinkage and is non-toxic. One thing you can do, actually, if it does work, thank you. Yeah, I mean, we could just use them as they are. I haven't washed the banks yet, but we could just honestly use them like this without too much issue. One of the things with that realistic water is you can use tints, like, to change
Oh yeah, you
the
could
color.
make it darker
Or green water, or, so if you're in a swamp or something like that, you could
like mix in a dye.
You could mix in a dye or a really watered down paint.
Does it tell you how to do that? Do you mix it in?
Yeah,
as you pour it?
I think you just basically put in a cup the amount you want, mix in the dye, and then pour. Basically. I think this is dry enough to move. There's the front side dry, as opposed to the unwashed section. And then that's the side that's mostly dry. It's dry enough where I can move it. And I think before I get out more umber wash, I'm gonna paint my some variation. And yeah, it's always amazing how much like a base coat looks. You're like, oh, that looks fine, and then once you put the wash on, it's like, oh, that's like a weathered building. Just tones everything down and adds those variations in there. That's why I'm always like, when I was painting this scorpion, and I was like, when I had the base coat on, it looked so...
Looks like a cooked lobster.
It looks like a cooked lobster. And then once I got all the shading and everything on it, it just drastically shifted the whole look of the thing. Like, it had a bright yellow butt and stuff. So, you have to get good after a while of just seeing the base coat and being like, that's not what it's gonna look like when I'm done. Like, this door is super bright, but I'm probably gonna put a whole bunch of black wash on it. Really tone down that blue. We just got the turquoise and I wanted to use it. So, and our garage door actually is painted very similar color. So, I wanted to have a little fun with it. Oh. Yeah, usually I have it sitting over here. Oops. Like that. And do you have that paper towel?
Mm-hmm.
Could I have it?
Mm-hmm.
This is why you don't.
Why don't you just take half of it?
This is why you don't talk and gesture while holding a loaded brush. So I just got a nice streak of brown paint on our. It's just the laptop stand that's holding our stream laptop, but you know, nothing too big. Could have been worse. So I'm gonna just put some of this brown. I'm using a flat brown. The roof right now is a flat earth paint, and to get a little variation in the tiles, I'm gonna be adding in just a little bit of the flat brown paint to put some darker tiles in. While I can still handle it without getting wash all over my hands. Lower. I'm just gonna choose tile, or I guess they're what are they? Shakes, cedar shakes.
Mm-hmm. Shingles.
Shingles, wood shingles, whatever they are. The shingles, I'm just gonna choose them at random. And once I wash the roof and let that really sink in, you know, this will all be a lot more cohesive looking, but for now, it's nice to get that little bit of variation in.
You have that blue handy?
Mm-hmm.
Need one spot. One tiny little spot.
Did you miss a little spot?
Yeah. I didn't miss a spot.
You need to touch it up.
Mm-hmm.
Getting this all on.
I can remember what I used for the shingles on the other one.
It should be around here. Your other house.
Yeah.
Is it maybe out on the studio? One thing I'm noticing while I do this is I need to do a tiny bit of touching up on the black on the inside here, along this part of the roof. Honestly, it's probably not a big deal and won't show, but it's one of those like, I know it's there sort of. Are you missing a house?
No, I found it.
Oh, okay.
So, what I did was the opposite of what you're doing.
You did the flat
I
brown.
used the flat earth, well, this color.
Yeah, the flat brown.
earth. And
This
then
is flat earth.
Yeah.
This is flat brown.
Yeah, I use the flat brown, and then I use the flat earth as highlights.
Well, then you should do red brown. Or deck tan as your base.
Some slate shingle.
Or buff. No, deck tan is... this one. It's sort of an off-white.
Yeah, it's that color.
Yeah. When you wash it with brown, with umber, it'll look more like that almost.
I think I did flat earth with buff. That's probably what I'll do.
Flat earth with buff.
I think that's what I did last time.
This gives the wash a little bit of time to dry as well while I'm doing this. But I need to handle the sides to do this pretty well. And if it was all tacky with wash, that would be difficult. Just getting a good but sort of random grouping of this. I'm gonna do one more, I think, right around here. Two more. There we go. Okay, so there's one side of the roof with some variation tiles in it. I'll do the other. It's coming along on the back. Mostly dry. And that'll just, when we wash it all, they'll be, the whole color will get sort of a normalized, like, consistency across it. But having these sort of variation tiles in it will just break up something that's otherwise fairly monolithic in appearance.
Monotonic.
Monotonic. Because it's,
monotone.
Single color, yeah.
Monochromic.
Monochromic. I guess monolithic is like single rock, technically. Because lithic is like rocks. Oh, thank you, yeah. That was doing these sort of tile variations, just I feel like makes the whole thing look a little more believable as like a house that's been sitting around in a fantasy world.
Did you use the other flat earth? Oh, there it is. Yeah, this one's new. The consistency of the paint is totally different. It needs to be stirred.
Oh, and the other flatter?
Mm-hmm.
Since we accidentally opened two. I'm not being too careful with these tiles because there's going to be a lot that gets covered up when it gets washed. Mostly just want the effect to be there. I'm getting a couple clusters first. A 2 and a 3 cluster before I go all over in random spots. I feel like I've had a pretty hectic day so far for some reason, so this is kind of nice. Just getting to focus in on a single thing.
Well, my day was pretty quiet until I went and decided to take apart that pine tree.
Yeah, we had a pine tree that died near our house that had to come down. You were careful about the hornets, I assume.
Well, they were on the other side.
Fortunately,
the other side of the driveway.
We had a big old nest of ground hornets moving recently that haven't been taken care of yet. So we've had to be extra careful lately. Okay, let's see. I'll do this one. I'm not sure how many more tiles I want to have here. Hold it back and take a look. One here. That'll be good. Alright, so while those are drying, close up my paint, clean the brush, and I'm going to do the next side with the wash. Once I get my brush clean. I'll do this side, I guess. I get my cup with the umber wash,
Just painting the edges of the roof. And then I can use the bigger brush later to
Not make a huge mess.
because there's an amazing amount of surface area on a roof, especially with the rough texture of the shingles.
One thing I always try to be a little careful when I'm putting in washes is going with the like grain of the print, basically, to buck up against it too much. You'll get little bubbles in your wash because it's so thin.
Yeah, it'll foam up.
That you kind of want to pop, or else it leaves little circles on your model when it dries. Which, I mean, it could be a good effect if you had something that called for little tiny circles all over it, like maybe a ship hull. You could do like barnacles, but generally speaking, it's not something you're looking for. So I try to be a little careful and clear out the worst ones. And with how wet wash can be, you can often just basically drop your brush on it and it will spread itself. Put quite enough wash in that cup. That one for the side. Okay. So that side is washed and needs to sit and dry. I'll just set that right up here. Spill my water. You know, that's always important to do.
Keeps things damp.
Luckily it spilled onto my paper towel, which I guess is about to be retired. So, it at least...
No, you lost your pterodactyl head.
I know. I can always make a new one. I'm gonna set those over. It's drier. Alright. And that's what happens when you spill a cup of water onto a workbench.
The surface of the bench is now clean.
Yeah, I was just cleaning the bench. That was what I was intending to do. Grabbing some new paper towel. Because I like to work with a paper towel on the table to dry my brushes on. Alright, I have a fresh paper towel. It was getting about time to retire that paper towel anyway, actually. It was getting worn through. Alright, since I am waiting for that wash to dry a bit. And that should dry a little quicker because there's less of it. I guess. Exactly. Yes, that paper towel probably had like, I don't know, half a bottle of paint in it.
By the time, yeah.
By the time I got rid of it. I messed around, I think, a little bit with. This wasn't one we printed, but we purchased this little Jaguar, and I put a base coat on that when it gets a wash on it will look more gold. But since I'm waiting for that to dry, I'll probably mess around with this for a little bit. And to do that, I'm gonna look up a picture of a Jaguar. So I can see what its spots look like. Alright, here's our Wikipedia Jaguar picture.
Oh, they have lots of spots. And the spots are like circles, kind of, with another color in the middle.
I'm just looking at a Jaguar picture here on my phone.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Well,
you need to put kind of orangish spots with dark brown around them.
Yeah, so luckily it's in a very similar pose, actually.
Actually, that's a good color for the inside of the spots.
What, the color it is right now?
Mm-hmm. So you can outline your spots in dark brown and then light around there.
That'll be even worse. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Alright. Thinking things through. The sand might be alright. Trying to think the best color to use here. Good thing I got that extra cup of water. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think like the deck tan maybe? Is that too gray?
It's kind of gray. I would use the buff.
The buff. Where is the buff? Over here. And then for those spots, maybe the red brown. I don't know. This is a very small mini. Honestly, I don't know how detailed I need to be with this. But
well, you could give the impression of spots.
so I could just be really obsessive and do like that.
That looks really good. However you did that.
Very slowly. So I'm messing with the spots here, if I can get a focus. There we go. Just putting these little round spots on the tiger to see what it looks like. Or not tiger, jaguar. Which I think, if I take the time and cover the whole thing,
will look amazing.
will hopefully look amazing. But it will be extremely...
Take a lot of time for a little cat.
The upside is I'm using such a tiny amount of paint that it dries really quickly. So I don't have to worry about it smudging too much. So as I play with it and look at it, I'm sort of developing an idea for a better way to do this. Based on what I was seeing with the Jaguar picture, I'm actually going to, I believe, undo those spots that I just did. Ooh, that needs to be shaken. And I'm going to, based on how the Jaguar spots actually look as like that ring, I'm going to do full circles, let those dry, and then take a different color and do a smaller circle on the inside of the brown circles in order to create that border.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Without having to actually delineate the little circle. So I'm just going to take this base color that I had used. This is sort of where it was going. But I want it to look a little neater. Because I was having to sort of do almost like squares in order to properly... in order to do it, and they're more rounded than what I was producing. I'm just going to cover up those spots and let that dry for a second, and it looks like my house is dry enough to work. Yeah, they were coming along, but I was realizing as I was doing it, I was it was starting to almost make it look like a grid, which is not how it should be. So I think I'll get a better, more naturalistic look on this when it's done. I made the other one a puma, so that just basically needs some like teeth and stuff and a black wash, and it'll be a lot easier. I know technically pumas have spots, but you can't see
You
them,
can't see them.
so I'm not painting them.
I'm not going to paint the black on black spots.
The black on it's actually more like black on very, very dark blue. Yeah, pumas are actually the same species as a jaguar. Like they're identical. It's just a different hair color. So the orange on a jaguar is black on a puma, and they actually have the spots are still there. And if you get really close and look, you can actually see that tiny bit of differentiation. Depending on the light. Yeah, I know. So pumas and jaguars, same exact species. Different fur color.
Actually, the same thing is true of domestic cats.
Yeah.
A black cat is actually a tabby.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if you get the right light and can look at it, you can see that it's striped.
Yeah, so a black house cat has black stripes on black. Yep. Yeah, I know, it's weird, isn't it? There's not a lot of things that are like all black in nature that are like fully black the whole way through. And yeah, with cat fur, both house cats and not, there's actually sort of technically a two-tone. I know. Well, I watched nothing but Animal Planet when I was little. So I learned a lot from Steve Irwin. And Jeff Corwin. I know. I was so sad about that. Like, I was basically raised watching The Crocodile Hunter. His wife and kids still do a lot of animal conservation stuff with and they'll post some pretty funny videos and stuff on their social medias where they do things in the style of Steve Irwin and everything for different like animal rescue events. It's pretty fun. Because now his kids are kind of grown up and our age. Well, my age. It's nice to see that. But yeah, if you want random animal facts, I'm always ready to talk about them. Like, yeah, they're really cool. Like, a squid's brain is actually the shape of a donut, and it goes around basically the backside of their beak. Oh, you have an all white? You know, I don't think all white cats are spotted.
No, I don't think
no, because they're basically
almost albino.
Almost albino, but
no, all white cats that's an unusual thing.
That's a pretty cool though. It's like I like white. I like the all black cats and the all white cats. I mean, I like a tabby and a tuxedo too, which is what we have. I think actually tuxedo cats are my favorite. But
Like Sylvester.
um, all cats are great though. But yeah, Squid's brain is the shape of a donut, and it goes around the backside of their beak. And if I'm correct in my remembrance here, if they open their mouth too wide, they can actually like have a stroke or like cause brain damage. Yeah, so they have like a circular brain with a hole in it. I guess I don't know if it's technically a brain or just like a neural web.
Like a ganglion.
A ganglion web. But yeah. And the giant squid is the largest squid by length because they have two extremely long arms that go out. But the colossal squid is longer. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, octopuses, yeah, they have that like distributed throughout their appendages, so their appendages still move after you cut them off. Because they still have neurons firing in them, impulses. The colossal squid is the largest squid by weight, because it's bigger and rounder than the giant squid.
So if you're a sperm whale and you're hungry, you really want to get a colossal squid.
Yeah, exactly. Sperm whales. We'll dive deep into the ocean to get those squid. And they're covered in squid scars. And their bellies are often full of undigested beaks. The squid.
Yep.
The squid you want to watch out for, though, are the Humboldt squid.
Those are the ones that change color, aren't they?
All squid change color.
Oh, I thought these are the ones that flashed a lot.
They do. All squid can basically have chromoplasts in their skin and can include and octopi and can change their color at will. But the Humboldt squid are, they're maybe about as long as this desk we're at. They're with the tentacles. They're, the size of a large dog. Minus tentacles, and they will completely swarm you and devour you, and they eat each other and everything like that. They're very aggressive. Hi, SD. Welcome.
Hello.
I know, I love octopi. We're talking about animal facts right now. So I'm going to undertake my new leopard painting project while I'm waiting for this house to dry. So my new plan is to make spots, solid brown spots like that. I can get a focus going. I just put one there. A solid brown spot, and I'm going to, after it dries, go in with a different color and get the inside to create that ring effect without having to actually paint a ring, which will be difficult with mixed success. This way, all I have to do is make little splotches, and I'll have a lot more control. Yeah, I didn't really think through it when I first started. It was just sort of like, let's figure it out on the go. And eventually I came around to the easier option.
I'm just getting the gaps between the shingles here. And then, yeah, I need to do, unfortunately, one spot of touch-up that I spotted when I painted this. And then I need to wait for the shingles to dry so that I can do the little contrasting shingles. Except instead of dark on light, I'm going to do light on darker.
Yeah, I mean, I actually use a lot of different like, I don't have the most steady hand in the world. It is fine, but I do occasionally get little, and I do a lot of little, like, tricks to help steady my hand to get fine work like this done. So, like, right now I have both my elbows planted on my legs to create sort of a more steady work surface. I also, a thing I find helps a lot is when I'm painting something, I have the hand that I'm using the brush with. I have at least a pinky planted on it, so that way if I move the figure, the brush moves with it, and makes it a little easier to avoid making mistakes.
Yeah, I spend a lot of time propping up both the work in my hands.
And sometimes if the piece allows for it. Yeah, like I almost always, whenever I'm painting anything, have my pinky finger planted on the figure, and it just helps keep it from getting that jostle. I'll also, if I can, like painting this house, just let it sit there on the table, then I know it's not moving anywhere. But I know they make these, like, little, like, holders that you can, like, plant the model in, and then you have, like, a knob to hold on to, basically. But I have not researched or invested in one of those. But it lets you get a better grip, especially if you're working on a small figure like this. And there's not a lot of good places to grab it.
You know, we do have those alligator clips too.
Yeah, you could also use something like that on the base. I'm actually gonna pull up my little leopard picture here. Because if I look at it, the back legs and torso have bigger spots, and then when it gets up to the shoulders and front arms, it looks like the spots get smaller.
Yeah,
so,
on the head and the front arms, yeah.
Basically from the shoulders forward, I need to think about having smaller dots, you know, so it looks kind of silly with just a little cluster right now, but eventually it'll look better. I should have just made 2 pumas, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know.
Yep.
It's content.
So is that too weathered looking?
I think that's fine.
Okay, because that's how the rest will turn out. I think I need whatever gray that was. Light gray. Neutral gray.
For the wash?
No, for the touching up the stones on the bottom.
Oh, it would have been neutral gray.
Yeah. That with the blue, when I painted the blue, it got onto where the stones should be. So I'm in the massive touching up stage of.
So as I'm Yeah, I have right now my middle finger planted behind the Jaguar itself right now as I'm sort of going through doing one spot at a time. And hopefully no one has that one phobia. I forget what it's called.
Spark phobia?
There's a phobia that's specifically like seeing clusters, uneven clusters of like shapes. That, I mean, don't look it up because there are some pictures that are kind of gross that are related to it, but like even if you don't have it, it's kind of gross. But like, it's a fairly common phobia actually. You see like a lotus root or something where it has like the holes, the uneven holes, and it like freaks people out. It's usually holes or bumps instead of spots, but there's some gross stuff that is out there. Yeah, that's it. Trypophobia. Trypophobia. I wouldn't bother Googling it because they do put like there's like weird medical things and stuff that are like examples of things that get triggered, and it's pretty gross. But hopefully the spots don't trigger that. They'll look better once they're finished. There's in Final Fantasy 14, which is the MMO one, they had just announced a new class for it, and they have these little symbols for each of the classes, and it was like the sage or something like that, and they had like this little 4 pattern of like circles with like, you know, like, well, I think they're more like diamond shapes. And apparently people got, with that trypophobia, got like really freaked out by it, and they actually redesigned the class logo to
because
break it up so that it wouldn't trigger that.
Ooh, wow.
Sort of anxiety. Fear. I saw that recently. No, it's coming along. Getting its little spots in.
It's actually really good.
Yeah, we'll see how it looks when I put the
spots inside the spots.
The spots inside the spots.
That's going to be a lot of work.
The house isn't quite ready for the next stage. It's still drying a fair amount.
We use that. I figure we need to make sure that you get a lot of close-ups. Close-ups of the cat so that you get so people can see the work that went into it.
I'll take some pictures. We generally try to remember to post our before and after photos on Instagram, at least. Which should be on our Twitch description here. Sometimes I need to wipe the brush a little to get, because I'm working in such a small amount, it will actually dry on the brush while I'm painting, and you need to make sure you don't get clumps.
Yeah, that can happen when you're doing a fine brush.
Or even like dry brushing and stuff.
Mm-hmm. It dries on the brush really quickly.
And then you can get these little lumps, and the paint just doesn't go quite how you want it anymore.
I'm just doing touch-up on the stonework on the base of this house. That's probably how I'll finish today. Because the roof isn't dry enough yet to do the contrasting shingles.
And I'm gonna have to look at the Jaguar picture for the tail, because I do not know offhand what a Jaguar's tail pattern looks like. Weirdly.
Hmm.
I don't know.
I'm really kind of surprised. That you just don't happen to know that.
I'm going all over this Jaguar's butt first. I'm not sure how much of the inside leg I'm gonna worry about that you can't see.
Yeah, it's always one of those things. Is you usually don't have to worry about the things you can't see.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a little spot underneath the scorpion that isn't very well painted. I'll have to probably break out the extra fine brush for the insides of the spots.
And yeah, those are going to be really tiny little dots.
Well, honestly, I'm just glad I'm not doing a tiger. Stripes are a lot harder than spots. leopard butt going on. If I can get some focus. Camera. Well, the house is taking a little hard time to dry over on this side, so I'm gonna clean the brush off because it's getting a little chunky while I look at this Jaguar's tail. So it looks like it's just sort of mostly random spots, except near the end. Yeah, I know. I think trypophobia has like a basis in like medical stuff. Like, you know, you have like things that cause sores and stuff, and they can make little clusters, some diseases, and people get, you know, squeamish from that, obviously. But it really hits some people, a surprising amount of people, very intensely. I mean, I think I probably have like a little bit of it because there are some things that gross me out, but I think it's less the patterning and more the whatever the
More
specific
the
thing.
Is, yeah. Keep saying that's why we have skin. Keep that inside.
Mm-hmm. Once I get this tail on, before I tackle the front half, I can work on the house. With this little spots, it's easier often for me to move the model to the brush rather than the brush to the model.
I'm just painting the contrasting color shingles because the paint dried nicely.
That's good. Sometimes when you put on a big surface area, it can take a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Am I missing anywhere obvious? It's an important step for me is holding the model far away from myself so I can get a good sense of what it looks like from a distance. Alright. That is... Oh, let me throw this in the water.
That's really...
back half of a Jaguar.
Really impressive.
I used to be absolutely awful at detail work. If you remember my lizard men.
I remember your lizard.
My Warhammer lizard men when I was in middle school.
They have spots too.
Yeah. They weren't this good. I've gotten a lot of practice in. So I'm going to set that to the side, let it dry a little before I handle, because I'm going to have to handle the back side a bit to get the front done. But in the meantime, I can keep plugging away at my house. And what I think I'm going to do is all the red parts are washed now. That's still a little wet, but we're dry enough where I can move it. So I'm actually going to use the black wash and tackle the stone on the bottom here and the door, and save the roof for last. Is my plan. Because the roof is a big grab point, and I need to clean up the black on the insides of the area here still. So, since I'm working away on a leopard, I'm gonna find the black wash, grab a spare cup, and this bottle always sprays me, like, every time I open it. I'll do about 6 drops of black wash. Yeah. Now my hands have black wash on them. That figures.
Yeah, I don't know how to avoid that.
I know. So I'll take the brush I've been using. And I think first I'm going to hit the door. And this will help tone down this bright turquoise. It'd still be a bright turquoise, but it won't be nearly as intense. Break up some of these bubbles. I don't,
Yeah. Now we have contrasting shingles on the roof. That can suck a bit.
Good. The black wash always is like the problem.
Always a problem.
I don't know, it always
It gets on everything.
spritzes more than I want it to and gets in places. I don't know. I always have a little more trouble with the black wash. Like when I go off the edge and then I get little black spots all over my hand. I'm just complaining about it.
Since you're talking about black, I'm going to paint the inside of the chimney since that's dry.
I thought 6 would do for the front here, but this is a large surface area on this stone landing, which you can't really see right now. Maybe I can get exactly enough without having to open that bottle again. Alright, so there's the front stone just sort of washed, and it gives it a darker, more worn appearance. Let that sit. Set the cup aside. Wash my brush. And then maybe I'll go back to Jaguar land.
Maybe. I think I'm about done for today. I could blackwash the stones just like you did. Those are fine.
Oh, you want as a cup? It still has a little in it.
Yeah, I think I'll just go ahead and do that.
Did I get... What is this? Is this a little... I think I got a little bit of brown paint on the front of my house here. From my Jaguaring. Or from the roof. Probably the roof, actually. It's easily fixed. Luckily it has umber wash on it, so kind of fits. Alright, so this is a... when I get up here on the Jaguar, the dots need to be generally smaller. On my 30 seconds of research.
The blue on this is eventually going to be blackwashed as well, like that one. But it's late in the day, and that requires a little bit more attention than just slapping it on. That's going to wait.
Going down the leg of the Jaguar in here. And then I'm gonna have to look at the head separately and sort of figure that one out.
Yeah. It just jumps on your hand, doesn't it?
Oh, the black wash? I hate it. I mean, I love black wash, but like that bottle that we have of it is just like constantly acting up. Whew. Doing this Jaguar is
Yeah, I know. It was quite a undertaking to take
oh, it's just spots. It's not actually all that difficult. It just takes a little concentration
and patience.
and patience and making sure you control how much is on the brush. If I'm painting, there's a couple things that if you can learn, it makes the whole thing a lot easier. One is control your paint's consistency. So the paints we use here on the show are real easy. They're a model paints. They're not the cheapest, not the most expensive, but they have a very good, they're not too thick or too thin. If you have a really thick paint, it'll just clump up. If you have a really thin paint, it'll just wash away.
And definitely not stay where you want it.
And go wherever it feels like. Coming around on the leopard. A little focus. Focus. I think I think it's getting distracted by the house in the background, so I'll move it over here.
Oh, the camera.
Yeah. Come on. There we go. Coming along. This actually doesn't take too long or too much work, but it is like
definitely tedious, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think it'll look pretty good.
Yeah, I think it's coming along really
well. Controlling the consistency of the paint. Going back to what I was thinking, my thought. Controlling your brush approach is important. Knowing exactly where the brush is and how it's coming in towards the model is actually a subtle but important thing to sort of practice. Using the right brush for what you're attempting to do. Honestly, the brush I'm using here is a little big for what I'm doing. I'm just using it very carefully. Especially as I get into the smaller dots on the front here. Consistency, brush approach.
Amount of paint.
The amount of paint, quantity of paint. So you can go anywhere from having a fully loaded brush with a wash to having dry brush, basically, which is where you put paint on your brush and then remove most of it on something like a paper towel. Which is probably what I'll be doing for the spots, the insides of the spots, as I get closer.
Before I touch it up. I'm going to clean this up. I'll be back.
Once I have my little spots in and I'm using the smaller brush, I'm gonna use a smaller brush for like teeth and stuff. With a brush this large, I'm just gonna splotch it everywhere. Or maybe I should invest in one of those handling pieces, because when I'm doing something like this, sometimes it's a little difficult to keep a hold. This isn't quite... Well, good morning. I've been working on this house and a Jaguar. Here I've been getting the spots in. Well, the start of spots. Was it raining?
Just had some thunder.
Oh, we have a thunderstorm. Okay.
Our cat's is going to the vet tomorrow and they need a stool sample. If I don't do it.
So Ulthus getting cat poop. Oh, nice. Your hoodie just arrived? What's your... Is it like a special one or just a comfy one or what? It's a frog hoodie. Is it like a frog head? Like the hood is a frog head? Because that would be really cool. Oh, it has a frog picture. Like a drawn frog or like a frog photo? I'm interrogating you about a frog hoodie. Oh, so you already have one of those like animal hoodies with a frog. Hmm?
Oh, you can hear it on the exhaust from the furnace there.
Mm-hmm. I have to do a tiny bit of cleanup on these spots before I... We have a lot of tree frogs around here. And some, like, various pond frogs. But mostly tree frogs. Basically from summer until winter. If you go outside, there's like nothing but frog calls.
Yeah, it can get really loud at night.
Yes, I'm doing very teeny tiny dots. So I have to do a little cleanup on them, meaning I have to find that weird color. Yeah. But
Almost a dark sand.
it's coming along. I have to look up the Jaguar head and see what they look like. But first I'm going to do a little cleaning up. Some of my spots ran away from me a little bit, or got a little messy, so I'm just gonna take the brush with a very teeny tiny amount of the base color and fill in those spots. Not fill in, but like round the edges a little more than they are. Mostly up here on this shoulder. I want to clean up. I'm like super honed in right now mentally. It's weird.
I know. I'm really focused on this.
I know, it's completely distracted me from the house.
No, I'm going to pretty much call it a day on this one. It's about 5:30. And go check to make sure that the rainstorm hasn't done anything terrible. I know that I cleaned up that pine tree. And I had a whole lot of the branches in the wheelbarrow to bring them back.
And then you left them outside?
Well, I was planning to get to them before it started to rain, but now they're wet and the wheelbarrow's full of water. But that's not a disaster. Dump it out. Okay. Well, thanks for joining.
Yeah, I'll be finishing up in a little bit here.
Yeah.
This has got some work left to do on it. I got distracted by a Jaguar, but
that umber wash really worked well on the red.
Yeah, the lighting's pretty. But I have to finish the stone and the roof. But I'm gonna, I think, because I'm so weirdly focused on the Jaguar right now, I am going to finish up all the spots except the head. I just have a couple of spots to clean up. And then I'll be wrapping up, and next time I'll finish the house, finish the Jaguar's head, which I saved for last, so I can make a big mess on it.
And next time I'll be weathering the blue siding and umbering the roof. That should go pretty quickly. This should be done, and I'll have to start something else. Look at the realistic water.
Yeah, it won't be anywhere near dry.
No, I bet it looks just like it did before. Yeah, it does. It's actually pretty cool. Wonder how it'll turn out.
We'll see.
Pretty realistic. Let's see upstairs in the bed.
Yep. Alright. Yeah, we're just about to finish, so I'm gonna give a little, since it's we've already gone half hour over what we normally do. But here's the Jaguar. And I'll take a picture and we'll post on our Instagram as an in process. So obviously I still have the head to do. But we got some spots. And then I'll do the base and do all the inner spots, because Jaguars have rings, so it'll be, yeah. And the Puma was a lot easier. But yeah, so I'm gonna wrap us up here, finish up the house next time. I was waiting a while on all of the wash for the sides, so I'm gonna take some pictures and send them to Lexi for posting. And yeah, we'll be back on Friday for more painting. Thursday Well, I guess there's not a rebroadcast because we didn't have anything this Sunday, but maybe I'll see if we can do something before that. But anyway, thank you everyone for coming, and we'll talk to you soon. All right, bye.